Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Madolche Yugioh deck profile for post-Dark Neostorm. Wanted to do an update to the deck with the release of the new Exceed monster for the Madolches. Really cool. It adds more to the extra deck. Madolches already have a good amount of extra deck monsters. We also received the newest main deck monster as well from the Savage Strike booster pack, but I felt an update was due just to keep things on par with the current ban list and everything else that's changed. The biggest thing back earlier in the year when Brilliant Fusion was hit really did affect the deck, but still wanted to keep things up to date overall. And also big shout out to my girlfriend Marissa for letting me use her deck for the profile. It's one of her favorites. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So to start off, for the monsters, I run 3 Madolche Mageline. With this one, like all Madolches, when it's destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle it into the deck. And when Mageline is normal or flip summon, you can add 1 Madolche monster from your deck to your hand. So you have a lot of access to your resources that you use, whether it be Hoot Cake or the new one, Petingsis Sour. But we have all of the options available to you with Mageline when you open up this card. I also run 3 Madolche Hoot Cake with this one. You banish a monster in your graveyard to shuffle, to special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck, except for Hoot Cake. You can only use this effect of Hoot Cake once per turn. So most of the time I can either grab another Madolche monster that I need for one of my Exceed summons, or I can even go for a level 3 option to have an Exceed summon for a rank 3 using Hoot Cake as well, or I can go for Messengelado, which is the one I try to go for a lot of times just for the fact that it gives me that spell or trap Madolche search as well. Definitely 3 just for keeping the resources open with Hoot Cake for sure. I also run 3 Madolche Angeli. With Angeli, basically you can tribute this card to special summon 1 Madolche monster from your deck, but shuffle it into the deck during the end phase of your next turn. You can only use this effect of Angeli once per turn, and the special summon monster cannot be destroyed by battle. So since you're tributing Angeli and not destroying her, you can have her in the graveyard to have a monster to banish with Hoot Cake to get that special summon off. So really good setup for sure. Most of the time with Mageline, I do end up searching for Angeli, just so I have that search option available. Then the monster I special summon off a Hoot Cake can overlay with Mageline to have my Tiramisu or the new Teacher Glass of Full on the field as well. And I also run 3 of the almost new Madolche Petingsis with this one. If you have a face-up, if you have no monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you can special summon 1 Madolche monster from your hand or deck, except for this card. And if you do, reduce its level by 1. Also, you cannot special summon for the rest of this turn except Madolche monsters. But this special summon doesn't really limit you too much, since you have plenty of monsters to go for in the extra deck. So whether it's an Exceed summon or even the obvious Link monster, which definitely does come in handy as well. With the level reduction, you might have a couple levels off on the field with this card, but still a great 3 of just for that easy special summon and search that you can do with it. And then for some of the lower number Madolches, I run 2 Madolche Yugioh. With this one, when it's normal summon, you can special summon 1 Madolche monster from your hand. So just more options available to you with this card if you open up a lot of Madolches in your hand to use. With it, you can also get off Madolche Messengelado's effect, which I also run 2 of. We already spoke of the effect. If you control a Madolche Beast monster, you can add 1 Madolche Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, so you can search out the field spell, ticket, or even Madolche Palooza. You have plenty of search options with Messengelado, whether it's special summon with Hoot Cake or Yugioh, you name it, you'll get that search off and just additional resources to use on the field. And I also, for the one-ofs, run 1 Madolche Croissant and 1 Madolche Puddingcess. Puddingcess, just for the pop effect, definitely does come in handy. Easiest way, I would say, to get this card on the field is through special summon. I don't really like to tribute, because then she'll lose her own boosts, and it could also offset some of your other effects as well, having monsters in the graveyard. But most of the time with the monsters, I can take care of them with Hootcake's banish effect, so not really too big of a problem there. And Croissant with the bounce effect works very well with your field spell and ticket going off, just getting the search, and its level boost can also help for some of your other exceed summons, since most of them require a level 4 monster. And then for just some additional monsters, I run 3 Ash Blossom. This just monster helps with your basically stopping your opponent's search, but also being able to give you those monsters in the graveyard for your Hootcake, which, like I said, is a very big play for sure, but just having the monsters in the graveyard to use is very important as well. That's why I also run the 2 Effect Veiler. Just being able to stop some of your pesky effects from your opponent's monsters is a big key reason for that as well. And that is it for the monsters. Moving on to the spells, I run 2 Madolche Chateau. This is the field spell. When it is activated, you shuffle all Madolche monsters in your graveyard into the deck, and all Madolche monsters on the field gain 500 attack and defense. And if a monster in your graveyard will be returned to the deck by the effect of a Madolche monster, you can add it to your hand instead. So this add back effect just keeps your resources going, but the shuffle back definitely keeps your graveyard empty. The only thing you have to worry about is the Effect Veilers and the Ash Blossoms, but that's only, like I said, if you open up those cards, but most of the time I use those for banish fodder for the Hootcake as well. And I also run the 1 Madolche ticket. I only run the 1 ticket, same for just the 2 of the Chateaus, just because they can get kind of cloggy if you open them up and not have enough monsters, but they are also searchable through Messengelato, which is my main way to go about getting these cards, so just very helpful for that search option, and you really don't need any more than that. So as long as you have your ticket and your Chateau set up on the field, you'll keep your combos going, which with Chateau having that search, also if you have a fairy type Madolche monster, you can special summon the monster instead of just adding it to your hand, which can just keep more and more monsters coming out on the field. So very strong for sure. And to replace for the Brilliant Fusion, I have the 2 double summon in the deck. Just that additional normal summon can give you that 1 extra monster you need for your Exceed play. Like I said, the Exceed plays definitely do add to a lot of your offense to the deck. So just having these for that 1 additional monster, which you can have plenty of searches for using your cards like Madolche, Croissant, you name it. Just these definitely do help for those plays. And just for more graveyard setup and taking care of some of the pesky back row are Twin Twisters. I like to run 2 of these. Now with this, most of the time your Tiramisu can take care of the shuffle effects, but with these, just being able to take care of your opponent's back row, that might stop a lot of your plays, whether it be just some of the Solemn Brigade or just another pesky one. Twin Twister definitely does help. And for a couple other ones, 1 Scapegoat, being able to go for Mrs. Radiant, and along with the field spell, just give more of a boost to your Madolche monsters. Definitely does come in handy for this card to use. And I also run 3 Call by the Grave, just more hand drop stops if you try activating one of your Madolche effects and your opponent has Effect Veiler, Ghost Ogre, you name it, just a good backup for sure. And that is it for the spells. For the traps, 1 Madolche Palooza, searchable, but also can be a big game winner for you for sure. Just being able to special summon any number of Madolche monsters from your hand, but shuffle them into the deck during the end phase. But, with the build-up you can do with your Chateau or your ticket, it can be a big key play for sure with the deck. And lastly, I just run the Solemn Brigade for a little extra additional protection. So the 3 Solemn Strike, 1 Solemn Judgment, and the 1 Solemn Warning. Like I said, you don't really pay life for too much else in the deck, so just having these available to use can be a big key play for you and your protection of your monsters you set up on the field. And that is it for the main deck. Now moving on to the extra deck, I run 2 Madolche Teacher Glass So Full. With this one is the newest Exceed for the deck. You just need 2 level 4 Madolche monsters to make it. Quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 Madolche monster on the field. This turn, that face-up monster is unaffected by monster effects except its own. And if a Madolche card is sent to your graveyard while this card is on the field, except during the damage step, you can shuffle up to 2 cards from the graveyard into the deck. You can only use each effect of Glass So Full once per turn. So the graveyard shuffle with some of your other cards in the graveyard is a big key help for sure with this card, keeping the graveyard empty of those monsters. I would definitely say it's one of the more defensive ones. I always end up just, setting it up to use for its shuffle back and just protection of some of my other bigger Madolche monsters. Getting the arrows open so you can get 2 of the Exceeds on the field is definitely important as well for your more, offensive one, which is Tiramisu. If I have Mrs. Radiant and the field spell, putting this card at 30 3,200 with its shuffle effect. Definitely difficult for your opponent to get over for sure with this card. And I also run 1 Chocolate a la Mode. You can also exceed some of this using a rank 4 or lower Madolche Exceed monster, which is what I do most of the time with this. Otherwise, a little more difficult for the Exceed since we don't have Seraphinite to use with Pudding Cess to gain the additional effect, but still very, very helpful when you use the Exceed material off of your Tiramisu. And then for a little more generic Exceed, 1 number 41, 1 Tornado Dragon, 1 Gaga Cowboy, 1 Abyss Dweller, and then for the rank 3 option when available, 1 Leviaire with the banish of your Hoot Cake. Being able to get cards like Angeli back to the field to reuse is a big key help for this as well. And I also run the 1 Madolche Fresh to start. Being able to protect your other Madolche cards is a big reason I like to run this. Just the one of, though, for the other Link monsters, I like to run the 2 Mrs. Radiant, helpful with the Scapegoat, which is the main reason I do run these. But the boost of Earth monsters is another key one for sure with this card. And for more generic, 1 Nightmare Cerberus and 1 Nightmare Phoenix just for the monster destruction and the spells, as well as what the other cards that destroy your opponent's cards can help with in this deck. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.